Namaste there. Hi, I am Nuthan Manohar, founder of �'𝐻𝐿. I assist corporates as well as communities and individuals to become resilient to stress, stay happy and motivated, and sleep deep. I do this by combining behavior and mind-body interventions. And I'm truly delighted to have you join me for this live session. And this live session is special because I would love to introduce you to someone wonderful, �'𝐻𝐿. She is an expert in biofield tuning. She is also a physiotherapist. So today is a session where we would discuss about biofield tuning and how it can help you release negative thought patterns or remove blocks that you might be having in your energy field, in your emotions, in maybe your physical body as well. So I think this is one of the best parts about my job, where I get to meet people who are working in different areas where they're all focusing about how to get healthier and happier, how to make the best of their life. So I'm really happy to see you. Hi Vishnu, hi Selim, hi Nitin, hi Rahul, hi Munasi. It's been quite some time since we saw each other. Hi Abran, hope you're well Abran. And for those of you who are having the difficulties of COVID going on, sending you a lot of my love and a lot of good vibes so that you heal faster. If you are free, just feel free to message me so that I can teach you something about lying prone and breathing. It's for helping your respiratory fitness. Hi Lakshmi, and we'll just wait around so that �'𝐻𝐿 can join us and then we could go live. All right. So meanwhile, is there anything you would like to ask me about, say, negative thoughts or, the difficulties that you're facing? Let me just go through the messages. I can see a lot of messages that are coming in. All right. So please let me know if there are any questions that you would have related to negative thoughts or maybe, say, blocks that you have experienced in life. In that case, maybe we could take that up today during the session. But really delighted. It's been quite some time since I have done a live. Meanwhile, just wanted to check with you. Okay, guess where I am? I am not in Kochi anymore. I am in Bangalore. And Bangalore has just gone into a lockdown. It starts tomorrow. So I'm going to kind of miss the freedom that Kochi kind of had, but I think this is something that is highly necessary. Hi Sampark, so good to see you. Sampark, really hope to connect with you and do something with you soon, because every time I read something that you post on LinkedIn, I am so inspired. So thank you Sampark for joining in. We're just waiting around so that �'𝐻𝐿 can join in and then we could do a session with her to understand about biofield tuning. The best part is yesterday I did join one of her free sessions and it was fantastic. It was so calming and soothing, and I think it's something that you should give it a try, because the methods that I follow, you have to actively practice maybe breathing or mindfulness or maybe physical postures, or look and understand your behavior and do certain corrections. But here is biofield tuning, which is very gentle, which is very non-invasive, and it is quite soothing. So Sheetal, I totally understand dealing with deaths happening due to the present situation. To be honest, it is it is really difficult, because there's a lot of anger, there's a lot of survivor's guilt, there is a lot of unresolved emotions that are going through because of what is happening around. And to be honest, I think most of us are very disappointed the way the governments have looked into the problem. But to be honest, in Kerala, where I am originally from, I think the situation is very much under control. In the sense, while people haven't really followed the protocols related to COVID in terms of social distancing, the fact is that we have a very good health minister, and she has done a fantastic job in making sure that the crisis can be managed. And yes, how do you deal with it? Because end of the day, when you have something as traumatic as death happen, there is a period of mourning. that you would go through immense grief, and there would be various phases that you would go through. There would be phases where you think that it shouldn't have happened. You would feel angry, you might feel guilt, you might feel that it is not fair, and it is all true. All those emotions are valid. I would suggest that go through all those emotions and maybe start journaling them, and write about them and see how you want to resolve it later on. But to be honest, give it time. That's the best way to go about it. Meanwhile, just give me one little moment where I will try and ask Neve to join in, because I can't see her here. Hold on. Alright, I am back. Alright, so Deepak, Fox, Prussell, D'Souza, Aline, really glad that you could join in. I'm just waiting for Neve to join in. Her name is NIAMH, and she's from Ireland. She is a physiotherapist and fantastic human being. I mean, something that there was like an immense and instant connection when we spoke to each other. So really hope that she can really add a lot of insights and give you an idea of what biofield tuning is all about. So let's just wait for her to join in so that she can. Okay. Meanwhile, I can see some questions. Fear of heights and negative thoughts. So Manasi, I think I will send one link to you. You might have heard of Pavlov's experiment, where the dog was kind of trained to start salivating on the sound of a bell. So basically what was done was that the food is given to the dog, and then there is a bell that or rather the bell rings, and then the food is given. So every time the bell rings, the dog gets really excited and it thinks that there is food coming. There was a darker experiment done by Pavlov, where after every bell a shock was given, and naturally the dog started having fear of the bell. Okay, in that case, the study was to find out how long and how quickly can we come out of that fear. And what was found is that simulations. So in the sense, if you can go into meditative states and slowly start imagining that you're going towards a cliff. The real life experiment is actually done using virtual reality, but if you can just start doing simulations where you imagine that you're going towards a cliff and start meditating upon that thought and standing there and observing and constantly reinforcing that this is beautiful, this is lovely, this is exhilarating, because you need to start having a new set of thought patterns associated with heights, and that is when the fear starts to vanish. So yes, Neve, you've joined in, so I would love to invite you. Hi, Neve. Hey, so I've sent you a request. Yes,
Hello.
so good to see you. I think one clear sign that both of us are not really used to social media is that, we're still waiting around, figuring out how to start. Can you hear me?
I think it was a bit delayed. We're an hour early. It's only 5:30 p.m. in Ireland here.
Oh, okay. So this is 10 o'clock in India?
It's 5:30 p.m. in Ireland. It's okay.
Okay, so here. You know what? I think when we discussed on going live, possibly we must have done it before the summertime.
Okay.
The same problem had happened when I had set up a session, and it was not yet summertime. So because then it's GMT +1.
Okay, yeah.
That's the thing. Yeah, I think, okay, but maybe do you want to go live a bit later again?
No, it's okay. We can go now and it will save. So if people want to see the replay, they can.
And since you put the timing, I never checked it.
Have you been waiting here for 40 minutes?
10 minutes. Now it's 10 o'clock. So 10 now.
Okay.
So really good to have you, Neve. So I was just letting everyone know that, you have a background in physiotherapy, and then you have started working on biofield tuning. And from what I could experience yesterday, biofield tuning works with the energy levels, the energy system. So very, very curious to know about your journey of how did someone working on physiotherapy, which has to do very much with, the body that you can see and touch. And from there, how did you progress to the energy field?
Yeah, well, what I say is I had a very organic spiritual awakening in 2018. I was working in Abu Dhabi in the Middle East as a physiotherapist, and I was quite scientific. You know, everything was kind of X, Y, and Z, and this is how things are. I didn't really look at the bigger picture of energy and life and, you know, why we're here. And I was offered a session of what we call biofield tuning. So the biofield is the scientific word for the aura or the energy field. So I was offered a free little session, and after about 5 minutes, I was like hysterically crying, even though this woman was around 2.5 feet away from me. And she said to me, she said, "Oh, I can sense a real sadness, a grief, and a loss, and it's related to your mother." And I was crying. And it was my first time ever that I felt like I was having what we call like an emotional release. Usually, you know, I cry if somebody hits me or if I feel pain, but this was like an emotional like detox. And at that time, that would have been halfway in my life when my mum had passed away. So she had picked up this information very clearly. And I thought, wow, this woman is psychic. That's amazing. I didn't think psychics actually existed, but now they actually do. But that's another story. And so yeah, I mean, from there, so I had that one session, and after that session, I felt so light. I felt so free, so present. It was like as if someone had just lifted this weight out of my body that I wasn't aware that I was carrying it. But as I reflect back now, you know, I find it, at that time, I was finding it very difficult to live in the present moment. I was always trying to plan something. I was always on the go. I didn't know how to sit down. I didn't know how to meditate. I couldn't be with myself. I couldn't be with my own emotions. So I had a massive energetic release, and I thought, wow, I'm going to learn how to do this. And it was just a journey there, from there for the past 2 years of a spiritual journey, really. So I learned how to do biofield tuning, and then I've just opened all these other doors to like meditation and plant medicine and sound healing and Reiki and, you know, all these other healing modalities. So I found, you know, it's so beneficial to balance the energy in your body, and don't just take care of your physical health. Like, it's so important to take care of your emotional health. And I don't mean for people, you know, who are going through like anxiety or depression or traumas. Like, it's for everyone. If you're not living in the present moment, it's because your mind is too busy. You're either in the past or you're in the future. And because of modern day living and the culture that we live in, you know, we're always trying to be better, which is good, but you have to, you know, have your goals and have your intentions and set them, but then also come back to the present moment and then make, you know, aligned action towards those. But yeah, it's biofield tuning, yeah, has really been my baby for the past 2 years. It's a very unique scientific sound healing modality. So it also is very scientific, and that's why I feel I was quite drawn to it as well. So we use laws of physics known as resonance and entrainment. So I use a tuning fork and a hockey puck. I don't have my hockey puck because I ran and got these. But when you hit it, this tuning fork should make the same sound every time because it's tuned to a specific frequency. However, when I put that around the body or near your body, suddenly it goes really high or goes really low. So what's actually happening is the sound is resonating with whatever frequency is in your field. So if you had, like say, a low time 3 years ago, the fork will go really low. Or if at a time of anxiety or fear, it's going to broadcast that. It's like a needle on an album. We're sticking it in and then it's playing back the record. So over a couple of strikes, then the sound starts to entrain into a more coherent sound, because this will be a coherent sound. So it's basically strengthening. When we put a stronger tone in, it strengthens the incoherent tone that's already in your field. So it's like tuning you into a different radio station. It's breaking down this pocket of energy or this stuck leaked light or biophoton, and whatever word kind of resonates to is energy in the field, and we're discharging it, whatever light you left behind in the past. We're discharging that and we bring it back into the body, so you have more energy in the present moment.
You've actually, I wanted to share about what I experienced yesterday, because you were kind enough to offer a session. It was a group session, and I didn't know that you use, tuning fork and a hockey puck. And I was actually curious to know, because, the sounds were different at different times. So I did think about it. How come, the sound is different? And the best part was, I recall, you would take us through this journey of, at this particular time of your life, and then maybe midway. And then just before, we get into it deeply, you would tell what kind of emotions that we might experience. And the fact was that every emotion that you said was exactly the same that I was experiencing at that point. Maybe childhood, I guess I did not experience much, but then when it came to the midpoint of my life, yes, a lot of things were coming up. And it did feel like a relief. After that, I woke up, I remember my skin felt much better.
Yeah.
So it was a lovely session that you had done. Actually, there were a couple of questions that had come in a bit earlier while we were waiting for, the session to start. The one question is that right now in India, we're having a lot of crisis related to Corona going on. And, what you would have experienced in UK, in Ireland, maybe a couple of months ago, we are kind of going through it right now. And there is unfortunately a lot of death that's happening. The hospitals are overburdened. So I was just wondering, is there anything that you would want to share, any advice or tips that you might have to offer to how to deal with the trauma of death and the crisis that's going on right now?
Yeah, I mean, so in this technique in biofield tuning, for people who have coronavirus, it is very good, because what we do is we put the energy back into the body. So if you are going through the coronavirus, you can definitely receive a session, because it's going to take this energy that you're leaking out from the body, and when you put it back into your body, you strengthen your immune system. And when you have more light back in the body, when it's not all kind of stifled out in the field. So that's one thing. If people are, experiencing coronavirus, you can definitely have this treatment. And the other thing is, even if you don't have an illness, the more light that you put back into the body, the same thing again, you're strengthening your immune system, you're strengthening your adrenal glands, all these things that's so important to keep the body strong. So in biofield tuning, we don't really talk about raising your vibration, we talk about raising your voltage. So taking the voltage from the field around you and putting it back into the body, so you become more strong, more coherent. In terms of dealing with trauma or emotional illnesses that people might be going through, by using this technique, it can really calm the nervous system. So although things might be stressful, and especially in that environment, it's in the news, everyone's talking about it, when you can come back to center, when you can call back in your energy, when you can soften your nervous system, soften your thoughts and your mind, it gives you back again your life within you, so you can be more grounded in the present moment. So people are coming at you with all these coronavirus stories that it might not even relate to you in this moment. You might not know anyone particularly who's suffering from it, but you might get drawn into it. So then we're just feeding more into the fear. So if you can get your energy back, and you can stand in your own energy field and not be entangled into other people's, you're going to have a much more peaceful day than those who are, all over the place thinking about it, because we can only look after ourselves. And when we look after ourselves, then we can look after the people around us. So it's definitely a technique, yes, that we can bring us back to center, meaning bringing us back into the present moment, because this is where life is actually happening.
And one thing, Neve, that I found very helpful with the technique was that, the methods that I follow would be maybe behavior based, which means, you have to observe your behavior, you have to make incremental corrections or changes, or it might be based on mind body interventions where you kind of use maybe mindfulness or meditation, or maybe you use breath work, or maybe you use postures, different techniques. But the fact is that sometimes, when people are going through, say, depression, or people are confused, it is extremely difficult to get them to do these practices. So in such times, a gentle method like biofield tuning, which is very, very centering, I think that is very helpful. So, I mean, have you felt that there were particular advantages of this particular method? Because you worked as a physiotherapist, and I believe that, you have checked out other modalities as well.
Oh, hugely. Like this literally can transform your life. Like it transformed my life from a very, I'm not going to say closed-minded, like I was open-minded, but this just opens up to the world of energy, and everything is vibration and frequency. So when you can understand that, then your life is going to flow with grace and ease. But with this modality, it's so simple and it's so quick and it's so effective. So you tuned in yesterday for a 1 hour session, and that was a group session, and you're having all these huge benefits. Women go to skincare clinics for months trying to get their skin better, and you just have this one little session, and this is what comes through for you. So everyone is going to receive what they need. But can you imagine how potent and powerful an intimate one-to-one personal session will be when I'm specifically in your energy field? And just to explain to the listeners that this healing modality, if you have a one-to-one personal session, it is very individualized to your timeline. So I actually start at age 0, which will be around your gestation, so when you're in the mother's womb, and then the time you were born, so the time that you were actually born onto earth. And then it's like rings on a tree. I comb through each year, feeling and listening for any resistance along the way. So say, for example, you're age 30, I will go through 30 times, just feeling, listening for resistance. I might get caught at age 15 because there's resistance and it actually won't move, or I can hear something different, or I get like an intuitive download that there's something to work on there. So I would work through each year specifically, and it's like click, drag and drop. I take up the energy and then I move it all the way in towards the body, and then I drop it into the main chakra system. So if you see somebody who's going through a particularly tough time, maybe they're going through like a divorce or, some sort of trauma, they've no light in their face, they've no light in their eyes. And it's because we're actually shedding this energy into the field around us, but it's so small that we don't see it with the human eye. So we don't believe that it's there. Or another thing is that we actually haven't been taught about this in school. So at school, I'm not sure in India, but in Ireland, we were taught about solid, liquid and gas. But one of the first laws of energy is that nothing can be created or destroyed. So gas actually, nothing can disappear. Like it will get so small that it just goes into a wave particle. So when the gas, if you think of the gas coming out of the kettle, those tiny little droplets, when they become even smaller, when they break down even smaller, they go into what we call plasma, and it's free electrons that are floating around in the air. So it's a highly electrified gas, and this is what we are actually all swimming in right now. And it's like a fish swims in water, it doesn't know it's in water. We are in this plasmic bubble of this really highly charged plasma, and it's a superconductor, so it conducts energy and electricity across it, but it's so small that we don't see it with the human eye. But like you always hear about people seeing shadows or seeing spirits and stuff, is because it's like it's on a level of vibration that it's so small, but it does exist. And that's how I picked it up in the field yesterday. It's because the fork can pick it up. So this is what the technique does. It moves through your energy fields, picking up the stuck plasma, and it drops it back into your body. So we've been taught that the body is chemical. So if you don't feel well, you treat it with pharmaceutical chemicals, or mechanical, you treat it with like surgery. But what we've really forgotten, or we've not been taught, is that the body is hugely electrical. So if you think of your heart, if your heart stops, they're going to give you an electrical jump start. Or if you measure the electrical impulses in the brain, like that's an EEG, an electroencephalogram. So it measures the electrical activity in the brain. The whole nervous system is electrical, so it runs on like axon potentials. The blood carries an electric charge. The bones are piezoelectric crystalline structures. So the whole body is actually electrical. And a law of physics is anything that has an electric current running through it will always create a magnetic field around it. So this magnetic bubble and pull. So around the Earth, we have the ionosphere, and around the sun, we have the heliosphere. So around the human body, we have what we call the biofield.
Thank you, Neve. I have one question for you.
Yeah.
I think there was a lag. So I have one question for you, because you have years of experience now. What kind of cases do you like to work on, and where have you seen the most differences? Like, because for me, like, I might be teaching like a large group, but for me, even if there's one person whose life has been transformed by it, that's satisfactory enough. Okay. So for me, I'm constantly looking for who is the person that I can, create that change in, or that shift in, or that transformation in. And a lot of happiness comes in when I can see, shift happening with youngsters. Because, sometimes when you're older, it often, there is a lot of baggage that comes up. So when I work with youngsters, I find a lot of energy, because, there's a shift that happens very quickly. They're open and all that. Likewise, is there any particular kind of cases you like to work on, or a particular age group, or anything, or maybe cases where you found that, you felt really good?
Yes. Thank you so much. Great question. Everyone, I love working on everyone, but my main clients who do come to me are usually, I would probably say, middle-aged women, overworked, they're stressed, they're overwhelmed, and they, they've just so much going on, and they don't take time for themselves. So they're working full-time, they're full-time mothers, so I always find with these clients, they really just soften. They relax their nervous system from the fight or flight into the rest and digest, so they can let go of like that critic who's saying, you need to be doing this, you need to be doing this. But they become a lot more self-aware. So they're aware that these thoughts are coming in, that the inner critic, oh, now you need to be doing this, and you have to organize this, and it's go, go, go. They've completely relaxed and slowed down their bodies. They're so much more conscious and aware of their own thoughts. And that's huge. That's why we're here to observe, see how we're moving through this life, because there's no point being here if you're just going to be going, because you're never actually in the moment. You're always waiting for something next, planning something next.
That's quite insightful, because we all have our, I think we've all been called to help others, and then we would be having a particular set of people whom you can work with as well, and that's always great to know. And one last question that I do have is that, because a lot of people are going through a lot of negative patterns, right? Maybe it could be related to experiences that they've had, traumatic events that they might have had, or possibly they just have a thought pattern like a limiting belief or a negative self-belief, which is not helpful for them. So how many sessions do people require to come out of it? Like, is there anything that you have found in dealing with negative thought patterns, or maybe removing blocks? I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
So it's really dependent on the person and what they are presenting with. Can you hear me? So it
I
really
think there's a lot of
depends
lag
on
because your
what
audio and your video is
conditions that the
not
person is
connecting. Like,
presenting with. So one session, like for me, I honestly feel that okay. I think I just still speak. Usually one session could be enough. However, I didn't to begin with and then see when you have 3 sessions a good insight and me, because often people might come for the first, they don't know what to expect, so drop down into that space, they don't render their mind, because this technique, it goes in subconscious. So I'm going to say 3 sessions.
three
and
sessions, all right. So
yeah,
that's really good. Thank you. Because yeah, I mean, when it comes to blocks, I mean, I think some less intrusive methods like biofuel tuning could be very helpful in getting rid of blocks, and at various levels. I mean, for instance, you're working at an energetic level, but even psychologically, a session like this is going to have a deep impact, and you feeling much better and feeling much more ready, because there's something very hypnotic about your voice as well. So when you kind of tell people and lead them through that journey, it's very hypnotic, so they start feeling much better. And I can see Alma is mentioning that you can't hear, but any which ways, it's like I could get what you were saying, and it's something that's really helpful. Methods that I would go with is has a lot of journaling to do. It takes time. Okay, because the coaching kind of method, or even for group resilience method, while it's very easy to prove scientifically, or if it's easy to prove, in terms of measurements and all that, the fact is that it does take time. So, that's where I kind of find it interesting to work with, modules like this, which on one side are healing, and on the other side doesn't seem to have any negative impact. So that actually brings me to the absolute last question. Is there any side effects or any negative impact of biofield tuning? I can see a lot of hearts coming our way, so sending lots of hearts back to whoever that is. So thank you. Neve, I think I can't hear you. So could you just disconnect and come back once again? Again, I think the audio is going off. So maybe you could disconnect and then come back. Just send a request. All right. So meanwhile, those who are here with me, please stay tuned, because we will be discussing if there are any side effects or negative impact to biofield tuning, because all modalities do have impact,
no,
positive, and some
there's
of
no
them.
side effect.
Okay. Neve, maybe you can disconnect completely and then come back.
There is no side.
Neve, you will need to disconnect completely. Yeah, and then come back. Manasi, thank you for all your love. And Sanmit, thank you for letting me know that it's not audible. She will join in just in a second. All right. So let's see. Meanwhile, yeah, so yes. Neve, please. We're still having audio problems.
Can you hear me?
We need to tune up.
There's no side effects.
Great.
So I do group sessions every second Sunday. So that's always a good introduction for people. So every day there will be group session, and they're really powerful, like you experienced yesterday. And people can find more information on my Instagram or
I
or
think
having
this audio has gone off once again.
site as well
I
if they
think
want
the
to
audio has gone
find
off
more
once again.
information there.
Um,
Some videos on my Instagram TV.
I think Instagram is kind of okay. You need to go now.
Okay.
So the what's it? The feed is not really stable. But then I think I'll just go ahead and repeat, because I could hear that you say that every second Sundays that you conduct a free group session, which could be a great way for people to join in and experience it. And I think I can see messages coming from P. George. Most likely it is his son typing away a lot of things into our life. But anyway, is really happy to have everyone here and really glad that you could all join in. And Neve, it was fantastic having you here. And I see a bright future, for you, where you will help a lot of people out there who need assistance in, removing blocks and connecting with what is their potential. So thanks a lot for joining in, and thanks once again. And anyone who has any questions to Neve, you can find her Biofield with NIAMH, Neve. So I hope I've got your name right. I think initially I was calling you Niam, and then you corrected me as to how to pronounce it. So thank you all, and lovely meeting everyone once again, and have a wonderful evening. All right, Niam. Sorry, Neve. Okay. All right. Thank you.